Hey everyone, this is Pete, and welcome back to Atari ST A to Z, a series of short playthroughs of Atari ST games, some which I grew up with and some which are new to me. Today is one of the former. Today we're looking at Vixen, which was a 1988 release from Martech, developed by Intelligent Design. The game is actually called She-Fox in Germany because the word Vixen sounds very much like the German word for wanking. So, go figure. That wasn't the only controversy the game attracted though. It also attracted controversy for its cover art, which as you can see, has titties. In fact, that is a page 3 model, so a glamour model, sort of made famous by the newspaper over here, The Sun, which has titties on page 3. Her name was Corinne Russell, and she was sort of a significant part of the marketing for Vixen. So she was on the box art, she was on a poster that came in the box. And she also posed for a photo shoot for Your Sinclair magazine, I think it was the May 1988 issue specifically, and that had a slightly different photo of her in a provocative pose in the front cover, which attracted a bunch of complaints, but also went on to become the publication's second best-selling issue ever, so I'm sure you can draw some conclusions from that. Yeah, the actual provocative cover of the box led high street retailer Boots to refuse to stock the game. Now, if you've ever been on a British high street in 2020, then you'll know that Boots is primarily known for being a pharmacy. But in the 80s, Boots was a bit more of a sort of, I guess you call it a sort of general purpose store. So it still had the pharmacy stuff on the ground floor. But then on the first floor, it often tended to sell things like stationery, and it had photo processing, and it also sold computer and video games as well, particularly computer games. So it would sell a lot of cassettes and budget price games and that sort of thing. And Boots refused to stock Vixen because of its cover art. So there was actually a second release of Vixen with slightly less provocative cover art. I haven't actually seen it, so I don't know how less provocative it was, but yeah, that was entirely to placate Boots. Anyway, this is the offending box art in question. Yeah, so I apparently picked this up for £6 at some point. Primarily because of the titties, probably, although I probably wouldn't have admitted that to my parents at the time. So this originally came with a free poster as well, which sadly appears to have disappeared at some point in the past. I do remember having it on my wall in my bedroom at one point, but I don't know what happened to it after that. It probably went the same place as my Thunderbirds poster as well. So Vixen comes on a single double-sided disc and has a little manual as well, and that's all we get in the box really. So let's read the introduction. The planet's Granath has been under siege for as long as the sky has met with the horizon, and for as long as the mountains have rolled into the distance. For Granath, a world in a parallel universe many eons away, has been at the mercy of the dinosaurs. For millions of years they roamed the planet's surface and its massive underground caves in search of their prey. They've destroyed all but a few of the mammals and all of the humans. Or have they? For a powerful lone female figure still stalks and battles with the reptiles. The cataclysmic catastrophe that hit the scaled beasts on Earth many millions of years ago has not happened here. It is a different world, very different. Vixen, found abandoned as a child and raised by the wily foxes, has magic powers bestowed on her by the fox sages. With her ability to metamorphosize into a fox and her magic whip in hand, she is fierce, brave, and a match for any of her foes. So yeah, she was pretty badass. So yeah, despite sort of being super sexy on the box art, and indeed wearing a blue bikini in the game, she's a pretty badass female character who kicks a lot of ass, or rather whips a lot of ass, as you'll see in a moment. So let's go play Vixen.
Okay, here we are with Vixen, or wanking if you're German. Yeah, so let's just begin straight away. So this is a basically a platform action game, vaguely in the Castlevania mold, I guess you'd call it, in that you're wandering along and whipping things and picking things up. And trying to get to the end of each level. And I remember enjoying this quite a bit back in the day. Now, I know what I said back in the intro, but actually, I will confess that the reason I was attracted to this game in the first place was not so much the titties on the box, because I would have never admitted that to my parents at the time. But in fact, the sort of fake gradient sky that there was in the background. I found the screenshots on the back of the box really striking. And I thought, oh, that looks really cool. I want to play a game that has that shit going on in the background. So I did. And it turned out to be good fun. I mean, technically speaking, it's not the sort of most stunning game in the world or anything. Like, it is quite chunky, jerky scrolling. It's a little bit sluggish to move. But it's perfectly competent. It does the job. And it's very much in line with what to expect from a game of this type on the Atari ST at the time. It was specifically this background that attracted me to this game. I've always been sort of fascinated with the... Whoops! I've always been fascinated with the way sunsets look. And one of my sort of holy grails for video game graphics was a realistic looking sunset. And so, like, any time a game had a sort of cool gradient sky effect going on. This isn't really a gradient, it's actually created using just two colours and parallel lines that are gradually decreasing in, or increasing in frequency, I guess you'd say. But I really like that effect. It created a nice convincing sunset feel, and I liked it. Now entering bonus level. So this is where Vixen turns into a Vixen. And you access these levels by... You may have seen I was sort of collecting fox heads as we were going through the various levels. And that fills up that bar at the top of the screen. And when you've filled that up, the next level you finish will take you to a bonus level, which allows you to score some bonus points and collect some of those special gems, which I can't remember what they do. I think they might increase your scoring potential in general. They provide you with some sort of bonus, certainly. And the other gems that don't appear on the status bar, those just give you points. That's a whip power up. Again, I forget exactly what that does, but that is what it is. Ah, yeah, there we go. It's a gem bonus, 2 times 1,000. So, based on how many of those gems you've got, you'll get bonus points. So, what's better about this whip, precisely? Seemingly, nothing. Maybe some stuff needs more than one hit normally, and it doesn't anymore, I don't know. Either way, it doesn't appear to have had any immediate impact, but not to worry. Do you see whipping those things that hang in from those strange claw-like trees? That increases the fox bar at the top and gets you closer to another bonus stage when you finish the level on which you fill it up on. The animation in this game is pretty nice. It's supposedly derived from actually filmed animation. So not quite in the same way that stuff like Prince of Persia did it with the rotoscoping, but it's still derived from an actual person running, and you can kind of tell that, really. We're going to run out of time. We're out of time! Nice big time bonus for me. Don't know how you get a kill bonus. Oh, and you lose your gems when you die as well, from the look of things. Ah, that's what the whip upgrade for, is that sort of stegosaurus looking thing. Takes more than one hit. Just a bit of feedback when you are actually doing damage to him would have been welcome, but not to worry. As you may have surmised from my mention of Your Sinclair magazine in the intro, this game did actually come out on 8-bit platforms as well. It definitely came out on Spectrum. Pretty sure it came out on Commodore 64 as well. But this version we're playing here is the one that I have the experience with. I would assume there was an Amiga version of this as well. Oops! That's not how you jump a gap. Oops. You're gonna make me jump it again. No! This may be where it all ends. I mentioned a few times previously in my patrons only videos about the Monster arcade stick I got a while back, and that has a function where you can map one of its two buttons to up on the joystick. And this is a game that really benefits from that, because normally you have to push up to jump, which, as most people will tell you, is not a terribly comfortable thing to do these days. We're not used to doing that anymore. And so if you've got a controller where you can map up to a button rather than pushing up, you'll find this game much easier. I haven't actually done that with how we're playing now, which is why I'm messing up all these jumps, but... well, there you go. Should have probably taken the top route then come back, shouldn't I? Never mind. Yeah, the animation on the fox there is really nice. And I always like that effect the background's doing, where the background stays static and the stuff on top of it moves. That to me was always sort of the next best thing to parallax scrolling. So sort of like if your system couldn't handle parallax scrolling, or the programmers weren't up to doing good quality parallax scrolling, that was always the next best thing to me. So I always like to see that. There's a few sort of early shareware games on PC that do that I was quite fond of as well. Like the original Duke Nukem does that technique. There was a sort of a Duke Nukem clone called Jason Storm as well that did a very similar sort of thing. And there were a fair few games on the Atari ST that made use of that technique as well. And like in the case of the sky background here, you don't even notice that it's not moving because... oh no! Because it's just the sky. It doesn't need to be moving. Oh no, I'm going to hit that enemy. Dead. Yeah, got to really time your jumps carefully in this. Yeah, everything's taking a few more hits now. Yeah, those whip upgrades aren't as useless as I thought they were. That skull and crossbones isn't a bad thing as you might think. It is, in fact, basically a smart bomb that kills everything on the screen. So very helpful. Nice work, Wank. I mean, Vixen. Oh no. See, that's where a jump button would have come in handy. Oh, I've fallen and I can't get up. Extra life, much needed. Oh no. Everything is killing me. Not even going to try and get that one. Oh no! Well. There we go. That is Vixen. Like I say, that's a game that I've always quite enjoyed a fair bit. It's been nice to come back to it. I mean, by modern standards, it's by no means the best platform action game by any means. It's quite sluggish and slow to move, but it is enjoyable. Take it in the context of when it was originally released and the platform on which it was originally released, and it's still a decent enough game. It's probably better out there, but do they have titties? Did they make people angry? Did they get banned from sale in Boots? I think not. Anyway, that was Vixen. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please help out the channel by leaving a like or a comment and subscribing. New episodes of Atari A to Z are on Tuesdays and Atari ST A to Z on Thursdays. Check out atariatoz.wordpress.com for a full archive. Do please also check out my other projects moegamer.net, where I explore Japanese and Japanese-inspired games from yesterday and today, and videopackgames.wordpress.com, which aims to catalogue the small but well-formed library of the Philips G7000 Videopack computer, also known as the Magnavox Odyssey 2. You can also support my work on Patreon or buy me a coffee. You can find links to do both down in the video description. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.